Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I have another layout using the Scraptastic February kit. I'm showing you some of the products I'm going to try to use, and I have this basket that I put everything in, and then that way everything is all together and I'm not going to lose any pieces. And then as I'm putting the layout away, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to use that, and it's too late. I'm showing you some close-ups of the papers, and all of them are from Echo Park, and then there's two cardstock that came in the kit. And this time, where there was still as many pattern papers. There was 22 pattern papers between all four kits, but I didn't have any add-ons, so I'm using way more background. And I had a few people say, well, if it bothers you that much, just put paper from your own pattern, like from your own stash. I don't know if the way I said it last time, I said that it was bothering me, but I really don't mind. My first love is to use cardstock as my background, and it felt kind of nice to go back to that. I think it's just nice to, go back and forth and do different things. So I actually like cardstock background, and I had found that I hadn't used template as much, and I'm stitching way more on the page. So it just makes it so that you're doing different things if you use different products for your background, whether it's pattern paper or cardstock. Now, I'm not saying that this kit I won't use any background pattern as the background, but if I don't, I'm okay with it. There was enough cardstock that came in the kit, and I have tons of cardstock here, so that's not a worry for me whatsoever, whether or not I'm gonna like run out of cardstock or something like that. So I just want to clarify that. I didn't know if I had sounded like, that I wish I could do it on pattern backgrounds. I think it's more that I was explaining why the other kits I, you know, had used way more pattern as the background, because I had those extras and I want to make sure to use them. This time around, I only have one sheet of each, and I love the pattern paper, so I want to make sure that I get as much use out of it as possible, and that it shows up on as many layouts as possible, so that I get to enjoy that paper even more. Now, these are some Project Life cards that me and Maureen exchanged, and then I had someone else ask me if I knew what collection this was, and I don't, because Maureen and I exchanged two different collections, and I don't know which one it's from because they came as a batch, and I believe one of them was Craft, and the other one, I don't even remember, but I'll try to look and maybe put it in the description of this video. But I wouldn't be able to tell whether it's from one collection or the other, because I never did get the full collection, so I don't know which collection it's from. Now, I had cut sort of the ends of that card because it was rounded, and nothing else on the page was rounded. And it was sort of, well, actually the main reason was because it was so bland, because it was just creamish, right? Now what I want to do is cut a piece of that pattern polka dot, also from Echo Park, and I want to add it to the right of that card, so then I bring some more of that color over to that right side of the layout. I was looking for a way that maybe I could use that pattern paper with all the stripes, but I couldn't figure it out. So I have that chipboard piece with the scallops. I want to use that. There was one of the cut aparts from Ormolu, and it says Another Bright Idea. And when I tell you the story, you'll know why I want to use that on this layout. I want to use this circle die cut with the chevrons kind of pointing, and then I really love those push pins, and I thought this would be nice because it looks like I basically have, the title, it's going to look like it's push pinned, and the journaling, and the bottom cluster. So what I like to do is, once I decide on my pattern papers, I glue it down, because I don't like it when it's moving around, moving around, moving around. So I got the pictures down on the cardstock, and at this point I'm putting all the embellishments in the middle, and I find this is longer than I normally would to before I glue everything down. But it was big pieces, so it wasn't moving around that much. But I like, see, it's bugging me. I just realized, oh, you didn't glue anything down. You need to move everything off before you decide where everything goes, and then you can work with your clusters. Because once the pattern paper's down, then you can really fuss around with those clusters and put everything where you want it to be. And what I like to do is I just take a whole bunch of cluster and I throw it in the middle of the page, and then I decide, okay, I'm going to have a cluster here, and a cluster here, and then, I just basically go to town with the different embellishments. And while I'm going to glue everything down to the page and the pattern papers and start on the clusters, I'm just going to tell you a little bit of these photos. So again, I'm scrapping from 2006. And that was last month's challenge on my Facebook group, was to scrap some older photos, but I was enjoying it so much that I pulled out quite a few more pictures so that I could do with this kit. The challenge for this month is to use older products, and I don't think I did on this layout whatsoever. I just basically used the stuff that was in the Scraptastic kit. And so anyway, my mom lives north of where we are, and there's nice places to canoe and stuff, and there's places to canoe where we are, but we just wanted to make it like a little trip. And our friends came with us, and we both brought our travel trailers, tent trailers, and we parked them in my mom's yard. We brought our canoe, and they didn't have a canoe, so they borrowed my brother's canoe. And my husband is the type that really, really plans stuff, and I'm the same way. When we go on vacation, I have everything planned, and even down to the money, and we usually spend exactly what I say per day. Like, I divide it per day. When we went to New York with my friends, like, she was like, can you be my trip planner? Because, oh my goodness, like, everything was planned down to a T, as far as money and that kind of stuff. Same when we went to Disney, everything was planned, and I'd rather that and not feel stressed out about it. So anyway, my husband's the same way. So when they decided they want to go canoeing, he bought maps for the rivers around the area to decide, which river they were going to canoe. And then on the maps, it kind of tells you where there's rapids and which areas to avoid with your canoe, because it could, damage your canoe, or it's not like massive rapids, but it can be, fairly big. So, and my son was only 6 at the time, so he didn't want to scare the dickens out of him and that kind of stuff. So anyway, he had bought the map and he mapped it out. And then there was one area that was sort of dead air. Like, there was nothing on either maps about that little specific area. And it wasn't very long. It was maybe, under a mile. So anyway, when they got to the area, of course, when there's rapids, you can see kind of the water like frothing, and you can see bumps in the water, and it's all white, and so anyway, my husband's like, I don't think we're gonna go through there. Like, we're gonna go on the side and kind of check it out that way. So our friends, you can see they were a friend of my husband. The photo on the side, he's got 2 boys and they're in their teens, and he's like, no problem, we got this, like, we're gonna go in front of you and we'll let you know if this is safe. So anyway, so they pull off to the side of the river, and almost to the point where they're stopped to wait and see. And all of a sudden, my friend, or my husband's friend, our friend, he turns around and he's waving his arms back and forth like, no, 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 don't come. And all of a sudden, all my husband sees is literally the canoe is vertically up in the air, like top down, bottom up, and under the water they went. Like, all 3 of them went under the water. The canoe, a few minutes later, the canoe comes up. Of course, nobody's in the canoe. And then 3 heads start popping. They had life jackets, so they lost the the paddles. They had sweatshirt tied to the thing. Everything was everywhere. Anyway, the teenage boys up to this point were quite bored, and then when that happened, that just made their weekend. They thought it was just the most awesome thing that ever happened because it was, quite exciting. So anyway, my husband, they were laughing and they said, "Don't worry. When I saw your canoe going vertically, there was no way that we were going that way. You didn't have to turn around and warn us." Anyway, so I want to make sure that this story is in there because my girlfriend, like the other couple's mom and I were at my mom's, and we got a call to go pick them up. And when we got there, they were drenched and they were cold because this was in May, so the water was quite high still and cold, but they were in good spirits. They thought that was just, the best trip ever. So the title for this page is going to be Tippy Canoe, and the word tippy, I used the October Afternoon alphas that I absolutely love, and then the canoe part also, but it's just the square letters that are in the back. And I absolutely love, 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 love those alphas, and I hope they make 100 more. I will buy them all because I love those stickers. Now, I was looking where I could put a third cluster, and I thought it would be the perfect place right next to that arrow. So that's where I'm going to put the Another Bright Idea, and I'm going to stick it right next to the little light bulb. And then the other part, it just says Picture Perfect, which it was when they took off. It was just picture perfect. The water was so beautiful. It was so calm, and it was a beautiful day. Anyways, like I said, it was just a beautiful day, and they had a blast. And I mean, they had hoodies and stuff, and it wasn't like, cheap hoodies, and they lost all those. But the boys didn't even care. They just thought it was like the best thing ever that just happened, like what an adventure kind of thing. So they thought it was a lot of fun. So at this point, I'm going to start looking for enamel dots, and I'm going to add them in 3 colors: a teal, a yellow, and a red. And I got this little basket at the dollar store, and I absolutely loved it. Oh, and I just remembered someone asked me about the iris container that fits inside the other one. And again, it comes from Michael's, and just go in the container area, and they're $9.99, and I just make sure that I use a coupon on it, and it's awesome. You can keep all your, especially if you're a kit member, but even if you're not, if you like making your own kits, it's awesome to divide all your embellishments and keep them in one little area, and then you get to use them. If you make your own kits and you decide, okay, this is what I want to use with this, everything is all together, all separated, and it's nice to be able to flip through the embellishments without feeling overwhelmed. And I love this little to fabric little container. All the enamel dots fit in it really neatly. And now I'm going to use my new Hero Arts spray that I got in my last order, and I'm going to cover the photos. I'm going to sprinkle with it's called Tide or Pool, and then I'm going to use some Glimmer Glaze in a teal color. And then I believe there's a third color. I'm going to use another Glimmer Glaze in yellow. And I think I'm going to use another Glimmer Glaze in red. So I guess it's Mr. Huey, that one. And then I'm going to show you some close-ups of every little cluster with photos. I guess before I do that, I am going to take out my favorite teal, I guess, or aqua twine. I'm going to cut out 3 pieces, and I'm just going to ball it up and just add it to the 3 different clusters. And I'm going to use my quick dry adhesive to glue it in the center, or in the center of the knot, I guess. And now I'm going to show you a few close-ups. And if you want to see more close-ups, I'm uploading in way more area. You can join me on Facebook. The link is in the description. I don't think you can click on it. What you need to do is copy and paste it, and then it'll work. On Twitter, Pinterest, A Cherry on Top, Two Peas in a Bucket, Scraptastic blog, and the Facebook group, and on Instagram. And all this is Nicole Jones 911. So thanks for watching. Bye.